Can Manchester United overcome their problems and qualify for the top 4 in the Premier League? Yeah, this is currently the most significant goal in front of the Red Devils, but do you realise how much the standards of the great Man United have fallen since the days of Sir Alex Ferguson? How things can change in 11 years. In today's episode, we'll discuss Man United's current form and what the team should do to win the Premier League again. Ultimately, it's a shame to have won your last title 11 years ago, especially when talking about arguably the greatest English club ever. Let's head first to the team's performance this season. Man United started 2023 to 24 disastrously, losing each of their first big games against Tottenham, Arsenal, Brighton and Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Those were 4 out of their first 6 games in the campaign. Yes, Erik ten Hag's boys won against Wolverhampton and Nottingham Forest, but they barely won. Then, until the end of 2024, Man U showed some signs of improvement, such as the games against Everton, when Alejandro Garnacho scored that magical bicycle kick, the win over Chelsea, and in the goalless draw at Anfield against Liverpool, that being the first time they showed stability in defence against a strong side. However, the comeback win against the mighty Aston Villa from 2-0 down at Old Trafford was crucial for the team. That match also marked Rasmus Højlund's first Premier League goal, setting the start of his excellent form, which, unfortunately for Man U fans, ended with an injury at the end of February. Between his goal against Aston Villa and the win over Luton Town on the 24th of February, the Dane had 10 goal involvements in 8 games in all competitions. Before continuing, we remind you to hit that subscribe button. We're building a massive project, so if you like our content, you can support the Blue Card channel. Now let's return to our main point. Yes, Man United's form in 2024 is impressive, with the team even eyeing the FA Cup trophy, as the Red Devils will face their bitter rivals Liverpool in the tournament's quarter-finals. Yeah, as we've mentioned, the team has had a significant rise in form in the last 2 months, having won 7 out of its 9 games in 2024. However, the fans keep insisting that things shouldn't go like this anymore because think about what happened to the club over the last 10 years. Since Alex Ferguson's exit, the team started every season slowly without any positive results. Then, around Boxing Day and after the start of the new year, the team gained momentum, finishing the campaign in the top 6 most of the time, or even qualifying for the Champions League on several occasions. On the other side, gave fans some hope, but they knew it wasn't enough. The board promised that the necessary acquisitions would be made so that the team could raise the level. And this was actually happening. The Glazers were spending an apocalyptic amount of money, and players worth hundreds or even billions were brought to the club over the entire 11-year period. The only part of the board's promise that wasn't kept was the team's improvement. Yep, there were times where coaches changed the team's tactics, bringing short-term results, but let's be honest, in no period since 2013 has Manchester United been the giant every club feared 15 years ago. And this is the harsh truth. Of course, there's no point going into detail about previous Man U coaches. You all remember what happened with Ole, Van Gaal and Mourinho. So let's focus on Ten Hag. Upon his arrival from Ajax, he was greeted with high hopes from Man U fans because he had a reputation as a coach with experience and a profound understanding of the game. He had outstanding achievements in the Netherlands, and some people even thought success would be guaranteed with him. On top of that, he even brought 2 of his top players to Old Trafford, the centre-back Lisandro Martinez and the winger Antony. Yes, big money was paid for both of them, and other additions like Casemiro, Tyrell Malaysia and Christian Eriksen. Man U made the much anticipated rebuild by bringing in a new coach, 5 new footballers in 5 different positions, and getting rid of unusable players like Jesse Lingard, Eric Bailly, Juan Mata and Edison Cavani for example. After all that, the 2022-23 season started with massive hope for Man U fans. However, they were quickly disappointed after a few poor results at the start of the season, such as that 4-0 loss to Brentford. It was apparent that things weren't going well for Man United with the new coach, but at that moment, the explanation was that he needs more time and the results will come. Until around the World Cup break in November 2022, Man United was performing similarly to how they had at the start of this campaign, with some disastrous results, together with occasional good displays, like the victories against Arsenal and Liverpool at Old Trafford. We cannot forget also the scandal between Ten Hag and Cristiano Ronaldo. Since the beginning of last season, the Dutch coach decided he would not rely so much on Ronaldo. The superstar often started the Premier League games from the bench, getting more playing minutes in the Europa League. But we all know that this tournament is far below the level of the Portuguese, who made a name for himself as Mr. Champions League given his incredible success throughout the years. Interestingly, just before the start of the World Cup in Qatar, Ronaldo's interview with journalist Piers Morgan was published on social networks, in which the star openly expressed the problem of Man U, why he decided to leave the Red Devils, and why he did not like playing for the team. Around a month and a half later, Ronaldo finalised one of the craziest transfers in modern football, moving from Man United to the Saudi side Al Nassr. After Ronaldo's departure, things went up dramatically for the club. The team's top forward, Marcus Rashford, found the form of his life, putting in incredible numbers in January and February, scoring in several games, such as the essential wins against Man City, Barcelona and Newcastle in the League Cup final. After that momentous success, Man United fans finally saw the glory days returning to Old Trafford. But that's not exactly how things stood. Until the end of 2022-23, Man United didn't increase the level. Not at all. But at least kept the momentum. There were new horrendous results, for example, the historic 7-0 loss to Liverpool, the Europa League elimination by Sevilla, and the surprising poor performances against Everton and West Ham. Still, at the end of the season, the Red Devils found themselves as third in the Premier League and playing in the 2 cup finals. From then on, everyone expected that the sky was the limit for United after this relatively successful season. Of course, new players came to the team. After the board's decision to call it quits with David De Gea, manager Ten Hag requested a ball-playing goalkeeper and bought his old friend from Ajax, Onana, who had just played the Champions League final with Inter. On top of that, Man U paid Chelsea and Atlanta around €130 million in total for Mason Mount and Rasmus Holland. Again, almost €200 million were spent in the summer, but with no real change in the team's display. Now, let's talk about other problems that Man U has to fix to return to its glory years and finally win the Premier League again. First, and perhaps most importantly, you must work with humble and respectful guys who know their actual value and don't have sky-high egos. Let's take Alejandro Garnacho. The Argentinian, known for his Ronaldo bias, is undeniably a good player, but you can't act like a clown in every game you play as if you're the best player in the world. As we said, he has qualities, but he's probably not even in the top 20 wingers in the Prem. You don't behave like that when you have 5 goals to your name all season. Another relevant example would be Bruno Fernandes, who acted like a complete joker on several occasions at his time at Old Trafford. In Man United's game against Fulham, Bruno faked an injury in one of his team's attacks. Then, when he saw that his teammates still had the chance to score, he got off the ground and even started shouting to drought. Really? You're the captain of the team and you're cheating like that, pretending you're hurt? This is definitely not captain material in our books. Would it be better for the club to return the armband to Harry Maguire, who makes some stupid mistakes occasionally but is a born leader and has control in the dressing room? Speaking of a purely tactical point of view, Man United hasn't had any significant problems in the team regarding scoring goals. We either consider Holland a terrific signing, given that he's one of the fastest to adapt from Man U's last transferred in players. However, the big issue with the Red Devils is the defence. First, we should remember that the team can barely play this season with its central pair of centre-backs, Martinez and Rafael Varane. Still, things have been catastrophic for the club in this sense. A significant reason for this was Onana, who not only failed to adapt in his first months at Old Trafford, he literally suffered between the sticks, making some outrageous mistakes. You may even see him enter our list in part 2 of the most stupid goalkeeping mistakes. If you still need to watch our first episode on the topic, you can check that out. The team has conceded many goals even in this recent improvement period, making the defence issues even more severe. There are still players like Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire who just don't have the Man United DNA. It's safe to say the club won't win the title at least until one of them is out. And finally, the so important question: when will Man U win the title again? Well, this is definitely a tough asking. Still, the club has to do some significant rebuild, getting rid of those players who just don't have a place in the team and are hurting the Red Devils financially and technically. The new owner, who bought 25% of Man U's stakes from the Glazers family, the Ineos Group, led by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, will surely make some positive changes in the club. However, Man U should definitely take some other clubs as models for a team that was struggling but then regained its reputation. Such an example is Arsenal. Yes, the Gunners have yet to win any major trophy since their revival under Arteta. Still, they are playing some beautiful football, and competing closely with Man City and Liverpool for the title. Something that Man U didn't manage to do in this whole 11-year period. Yes guys, the biggest club in the history of English football folklore has struggled a lot, and this has to dramatically change. However, the fans could only hope for this to happen sooner rather than later, but undoubtedly, Man United is awaiting more great years. The only question is, how much longer will it take? If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also jump to some of our last analysis, where we discuss the possible transfer of Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid. Goodbye and catch you in the next one.